Women. What could you say? Who made them? God must have been a fucking genius.
How very gallant of you to say so.
No, you don't understand. You see, I'm engaged to someone.
And you blame me?
No, it was unfair to you, too. You're so very fascinating. I think it was that, the storm and our nearness, that made me lose my senses. Well, I've got them back this morning, and I'm asking you to forgive me. And for what I'm saying now, if I hurt you.
Hurt me? You delight me. You have the most amazing lack of humor of anyone I've ever known. I should laugh at you, should I? But I can't help it. You were so awkward that I almost laughed in your face at first, and then it made me quite sick to think that anyone could be stupid enough to be taken in by a lot of old tricks. I thought you might at least be amusing, but you turned out to be dull and stupid and so afraid. Well, you needn't be. I won't hurt your Sunday school romance or your oh-so-nice career. Hurt me? Get out of here before you give me hysterics!
Have you ever buried your nose in a mountain of curls? Just wanted to go to sleep forever. Or lips that when they touched yours were like that first swallow of wine after you just crossed the desert.
What are you doing? I'm checking the passenger list. When a man has "untitled" after his name, he's definitely worthwhile. I'm simply trying to find a suitable gentleman escort for you.
Well, don't bother. I've just provided myself with about 20.
Dorothy, did you ever hear of a rich pole vaulter?
Maybe not, but who cares? I like a man who can run faster than I can.
I hate to think where you'll wind up. You're wasting all your time on unrefined persons without any money.
Honey, did it ever occur to you that some people just don't care about money?
Please, don't be silly. We're talking serious. You don't want to end up with a loveless marriage, do you?
I thought you said you were broke. Don't you get the idea I'm doing this just to help you? I need money, too. You're good. You're awful good. I'd walk home if it wasn't for all that water. Why don't you take this bottle and go to bed?
Who was the girl, Steve?
Who was what girl?
The one who left you with such a high opinion of women. She must have been quite a gal. You think I lied to you about this, don't you? Well, it just happens there's $30-odd here. Just enough to be able to say no if I feel like it. You know, Steve, you're not very hard to figure. This belongs to me and so do my lips. I don't see any difference.
Oh, I do.
Okay. You know you don't have to act with me, Steve. You don't have to say anything and you don't have to do anything. Not a thing. Oh, maybe just whistle. You know how to whistle, don't you, Steve? You just put your lips together and blow.
Tits. Hoo-ah. Big ones, little ones. Nipples staring right out at you like secret searchlights. Legs. I don't care if they're Greek columns or secondhand Steinways. What's between them? Passport to heaven.
You can't marry that guy.
George, I'm going to. Come around about noon tomorrow. I mean today. Snob.
Say, what do you mean, snob?
You're the worst kind there is, an intellectual snob. You made up your mind awfully young, it seems to me.
Well, 30's about time to make up your mind.
The time to make up your mind about people is never. You're just a mass of prejudices, aren't you? You're so much thought and so little feeling, Professor. You're intolerance infuriates me. I should think that of all people, a writer would need tolerance. The fact is, you can't be a first-rate writer or a first-rate human being until you've learned to have some small regard for human Aren't the geraniums pretty, Professor?
I need a drink. Yes, Mr. Sims. There's only 2 syllables in this whole wide world worth hearing. Women. Above all things.
tune to do now. This is the very beautiful Misty.
I know you wouldn't think it. I know you wouldn't think it. I know you wouldn't think it. You wouldn't think it to look at you. Wouldn't think it to look at me. But I'm a bit of a sucker for getting it back. I'm a sucker for repetition. I'm a bit of a sucker. I'm nostalgic. I always want to bring it back. I know I'd better move on, but in little things I'm a sinner that way, so I hide it in my pockets, and that's how I hold on to it, by digging my hands into the pockets of my jeans, but I hide it. By making a rule to never lean against walls or cars of any kind, because that's just what James Dean might do. Hands in pockets, leaning back in black and white. Yep. It shows more than it hides to allow. I prefer black and white, leather, shadows, t-shirt, highlights, pure, bright, blinding like the highway beyond and beside, just behind James Dean, just at a frame, at a time, just perfectly out of reach, which makes it exactly the thing you love to repeat or love to long to repeat. Every day a highway, every day a long drive in black and white, and before each highway leaning like all the time in the world. Every day, there are 100 gestures my spine wants to bring back. I fight to keep them to myself. I don't lean. I keep the pockets of my jeans and my purses clean of ticket stubs and candy wrappers. Any scrap of old paper I might finger later for the small ache of a taste. I ate chocolate today and there's nothing left of it but the small ache of a taste. Would you have guessed that it feels good to feel bad when I remember? Or what about the bigger bittersweet of losing a melody, the longer letdown of gradually losing a melody the band played live? You're sure you've heard it now twice, just behind, just out of frame, just out of time once? That melody served to underscore the voice of a lost friend. You heard their voice again, surprised that they had survived, but there they were, underscored by that melody in a dream. You heard that voice twice. It did repeat, once in a dream, once when the band played live, both fading. It feels too good to feel this sad, so I keep my pockets clean. I don't lean, I don't buy steamer trunks, dye wool, raise heritage hands, or imagine myself in a pastel sundress. My bare calves. Beach grass running up in long, cool scratches. When we pass it to where the sand is wet and fixed in ripples, by the water's low, the water's high. The kelp left by the tide wraps itself in the wind and rides it, the wind scented in high tang bites in a wide, pungent bed of ocean. The whole scent travels back with me to linger, like they've got all the time in the world. Wait for it to arrive, settle into your joints and inflame you. A robin's red breast, April 2009. Water shadows, the public pool at Kitts Beach, smoke curling from a slip of burnt paper, start an October fire, the smell of it, a melody, a melody, a melody. It comes back once, twice, 3 times, you hear that voice again. And snow falls here for the first time in what's it been? A decade? Every day, there are 100 gestures my spine wants to bring back. I fight to keep them to myself. I don't lean. I keep the pockets of my jeans and my purses clean of ticket stubs and candy wrappers. Any scrap of old paper I might finger later for the small ache of a taste. I eat chocolate today and there's nothing left of it but the small ache of a taste. Would you have guessed that it feels good to feel bad when I remember? Or what about the bigger bittersweet of losing a melody, a melody, a melody, the longer letdown of gradually losing a melody, the band played live, you're sure you've heard it now twice, just behind, just out of frame, just out of time once. That melody served to underscore the voice of a lost friend. You heard their voice again, surprised that they had survived, but there they were, underscored by that melody. You heard that voice twice, it did repeat, once in a dream, once when the band played live, both fading. The kelp left by the tide wraps itself in wind and rides in cream scented and high tang bites in a wide pungent bed of ocean. The whole scent travels back with me to linger, like we've got all the time in the world. I know you wouldn't think it, you wouldn't think it, I know you wouldn't think it, I know you wouldn't think it to look it, you wouldn't think it to look it, but I'm contagious, it's contagious, this nostalgia. Go home and wait for it to arrive.